Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. All right, boys, so let's get on to our third one here.
Where is the bottle, mate? It's
Yeah,
yours.
well, the bottle is here.
Jesus. Salud.
Salute. I've got a Simi, a wine from a...
You haven't done any steps since you've been here, mate. I just saw him checking his Fitbit. You haven't moved,
No,
all right?
I've got a call coming in, mate. I've got a call coming in.
Do you know if you just sit there and wave it, it'll add steps?
I brought in a Simi before. Simi is in an American wine, US. And in America, you have the Napa Valley, which is all well known in north of San Francisco,
Yep.
in California.
Just got burned
But
to a
then
crisp,
just between Napa Valley and the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, you have another area that's called the Alexander Valley or Sonoma County. And they're smaller houses and they make wines. And I have to say, my wife had to go to Jewel to find it. And Jewel Vintage Cellars is just a treasure trove. You can go to a lot of places, to big stores.
Cash for comment.
But then, no, serious. All the good bottles that I got so far, they always came from that same shop. I don't know how they select their wine, but for a very small shop, they got wines you can't find in many other stores. That's amazing stuff.
I probably should have tipped you. If I was a good mate, I would have tipped you before you open it. But if it's from Sonoma Valley, mate, there's probably not going to be a lot of wine coming out of there for quite some time because they got absolutely torched in the bushfires recently and the year before. So much like a lot of the 2019-2020 stock in the Hunter Valley got ruined because of the bushfires that we suffered by the smoke, that maybe you should have hung on to that for a couple of years, mate. It might be a collector's item because there might not be more for...
Well, we'll see. So let's try it first. We can't hang on to anything until the next podcast.
Cheers.
Let's do this.
Cheers, boys. Second.
It's extraordinarily different to Chris's Cab Sav.
Yes, it is. It is very different. But I think let's wait for a second. Let's come back to
It's
that.
a lot more fruity.
Do you have another
It's a lot
opinion?
more fruity than
That's
the
him.
other one.
That's him going. I'll let you boys think about it and then come up with the right answer.
No, because I knew before we even started looking at Chris, it was more structured. It was going to be more structured from what I saw there. But this is an American wine where they said there's no way you can make wine in that area. That's what
They
we
were
get.
right.
That's what we get it.
They should have listened.
Listen,
This wasn't one of those times to follow your passion.
I am still fighting for first position. He's trying to save third position.
No way.
Third position he's trying to save.
No way.
All right. So what's going on? What fake news? What kind of selling that people do, and what kind of story that fake salespeople have been trying to do to us over the last 2 weeks?
There's heaps of shit going on, but I'm still fired up because we got triggered in the other podcasters. So I want to talk about the real estate market, but first we touched on Piers Morgan in one of our earlier sessions and the fact that he's been basically chastised off television, and I really don't like the bloke. I don't think anything that comes out of his mouth is worth savouring, and the day that Brett Lee bowled a bouncer and broke his nose was fantastic, but the fact that he's been the fact that he's been chastised off television, and he's the latest in a long list of public figures who have been cancelled. The word is cancelled. They're thrown around these days. Cancel culture speaks to everything that's going wrong with the world at the moment. You aren't allowed to have a difference of opinion from the populace. He's come out after Meghan and Harry and said, I don't believe a word they've said. He doesn't believe that Meghan had suicidal thoughts, which, mate, that's a big call to make.
Big statement, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big statement.
Bold statement.
And he said he'll live and die by him, and his media career at the moment, he'll be back.
Yeah.
But he chose to resign from his job rather than put up with people who can't stand the fact that someone had a difference of opinion from them.
First of all, let's start, because it's a big story of the last fortnight.
Yeah.
What Harry and Meghan have done, do you agree?
No.
Do you condone it? Okay, no.
I wouldn't do it to
Why not?
It's family.
It's family, okay.
I wouldn't do it to my family, no.
You wouldn't do it either? I wouldn't do it either. But now, do we understand that they could do it?
100%.
the reasoning behind what they were saying on TV, obviously on the interview with Oprah. Yeah, like Cam said, 100%.
The question is, are they allowed to do it? Yes.
To be not
No,
offering,
not they're allowed. Do we understand that they would do it?
I think it feels a little bit vindictive.
Yes, I get it.
It feels vindictive for Harry more so than Meghan. I think for Harry to be told that your wife and child won't be protected, I think it's a slap in the face. I think it's outright.
If it's true,
and we can only go by what we're told. Yeah.
well, one side's saying it's not true, and one side's saying it's
Yeah.
true. Right? So you don't know.
So I don't condone it. However, I can only go by what they're saying.
You can't
in
think
their
they did it
interview.
for money, right?
Did they get paid for the interview?
I don't know, but they're on Oprah. So, but people at first glance go, "Oh, cash grab." But
Fake news say probably $17 million. The other side of fake news say no, they were not.
Okay.
All right. So who do you believe?
Yeah, exactly right. I don't
Did
know.
you see the bank account?
Yeah.
I didn't. So I don't know.
skeptic
So let-
in me says Meghan Markle's an actress, and by definition, drama and whatever. But cancel the shit out of me for
And
saying
in-
that.
and
How
in
dare
suits.
I? The problem is,
So you need to resign, mate.
Problem
We're
is-
not going to cancel. You
No,
need
that's
to
what
resign.
I mean. Problem is, how dare I say something like that?
Yeah.
How dare I? Right. So all the keyboard warriors have got together, and unfortunately, the vast majority of them are on the same side of politics.
Did you watch the interview?
No, mate, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Did you?
No.
No, either do I.
I don't.
I was not interested, but I saw a few moments because obviously the news and everything's been going around that.
I saw the
So-
outtakes because I was waiting to hear about Melissa Caddick and the lady who hired an Airbnb and hasn't moved out and is now squatting. I had to sit through Harry and whatever her name is on A Current Affair
Meghan.
to get to the lady who rented an Airbnb for the weekend on the waterfront and hasn't moved out.
But I would understand that that generation of people would do it, just as much as when you have a look at some of our kids, the entitled kids, the kids who need to have certain things, and unless they have those certain things, they will just ditch this family secrets. They will just go out and tell the world, and I think I can see it. The other thing I also could see is that Harry was very uncomfortable. The position, the way he was sitting, she was way more open in the way she was sitting, and you could tell she was out there to just tell the story. She's an actress, by the way, so her story will be believable. I could feel part of him was about, I do not want to be here.
He was torn.
He was
I
doing
don't
no,
wanna
he
be
was
here.
doing what he was told by the person who wears the pants in the relationship. Oh, sorry, don't cancel me, but
Okay, so let's have a look at the second part now.
gonna see how many times I
Oprah,
get
someone
cancelled.
who knows what it is to be persecuted, and someone whose voice is huge. Should she have accepted to have that on air?
it's her job.
Absolutely. They're exactly right, Cam.
Okay,
100%.
so
that's her
she's
job.
done it for greed.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, then let's have a look now. Piers, should he have said what he said about Meghan?
I think he's entitled to his opinion.
Was he
Can I throw
was he
something
involved
out?
with
I-
Meghan before a while ago, or was he not? I mean, is it?
No,
fake
he's
news
He's a
or-
royalist.
Can I say
he's a
something?
royalist
Yeah,
through
no,
and through.
No, I think, boys, come on. Talking about fake news, he's done it for greed as well. How much publicity is he getting right now? He's made his whole career off saying controversial things. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How much common sense things make, that bloke has come out and said the opposite. Him and people like, I can't put Andrew Bolt in the same sentence because during coronavirus I agreed with a lot of what Andrew Bolt was saying, but Andrew Bolt is another guy who will come out against the status quo and just say whatever has to be said for ratings.
Yeah.
Right? So Piers might have quit morning television in England and how much
And got
money-
another job out
how
right
much,
after that.
how much money is a bloke going to make off it? So that's where we've got to take off the rose-coloured glasses and think these guys are doing it. Or they may have been doing it for genuine
But
reasons,
we've got to
let's be open to the fact that they might not be.
But I would like us to go beyond that reason. I'm asking, did he have the right to do what he did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. When you say entitled to do what he did, are you talking about speaking his mind about the interview?
He came out and said, I
Yeah.
think it's all a load of rubbish. I don't believe she had suicidal thoughts, and I don't believe a
Okay,
single
so
word
he
they
has the
said.
right to air his opinion.
Yeah.
As his colleagues on his desk have their right to air their
It
opinion.
was quite comical because he was sitting there going off, and the lady beside him going, "No, well, that's no, you can't say," and he just kept going. I mean, good on him. But as I said, it speaks to a larger problem in the world at the moment where you can't have a say and you
But
can't have an opinion.
I don't think those people were just saying, no, you can't say that. I think, no, they were saying also, no.
No, she was having her opinion. She was just saying, well, you're an idiot for saying that. She was disagreeing with him, which is fine. Two adults can disagree.
So what I'm getting at is he had everyone else on that panel disagreeing with him. And everyone was saying, you're wrong, and what you're saying is wrong. And he got the shits with it and walked out.
And what's happened afterwards? Saying what he said the way he said it, which is why I'm sure he did it for his own benefit. There's no way of saying, someone comes out and says, I thought about killing myself, and you go, no, bullshit, you're a liar, which is what he said, almost word for word, but probably without the word bullshit. There's no way that goes well. There's plenty of ways of saying that. You can say, look, she's an actress, Harry didn't look exactly how TL just said. He could have come out and said it exactly how TL said it, right? And by the way, he hasn't inferred or said at all, that he doesn't believe what they said. He was just reading their body language. There was 100 different ways Piers Morgan could have said what he said. The problem is it wouldn't matter how he said it. The minute he said, I'm on the other side of the fence, he was going to get crucified no matter what. The fact that he went so strong on it and the word, she's a liar about talking about killing herself, that's a...
So then do you think it's a reasonable reaction to walk out on a program that you're filming at the time because you were ganged up on?
But, we're all human, and I think that, like a lot of bullies, I think that Piers has got, he doesn't have thick skin.
Right, okay.
I've done it before, mate. I've been in meetings. Thomas and I were talking about a meeting earlier where I had to get up and walk out or I thought I was going to fly across the table at somebody. No, but...
I understand.
Shit happens. Now, so that's on a real sense. Now, on a theatrical sense and a rating sense, great television. Fucking brilliant.
Absolutely. It's been going on for the last 24 hours.
Brilliant television,
right?
Mate.
It's amazing. And I'm sure he's already got like proposal and contracts on the table, man.
He's probably already had a contract signed before he went into
This is where the potential for everyone to get sucked in, and I'm not saying you have been. When you go to cancel me, I just want to be clear. I'm not saying you have been sucked in, but let's think about it. We've got an actress on one side and a guy who his whole job is to get ratings on the other side. The actress has claimed victimhood for being locked in a 4 million square foot mansion and waited on hand and foot, but they were trapped. And the guy whose whole job it is to get rating is claiming victimhood because he's all ganged up on me and I'm going to stand up for free speech, but fuck, the clip's still going all over YouTube and whatever. So how many people have now Googled Harry and Meghan Markle in the last 48 hours, and how many people have Googled Piers Morgan, and they're both winners, and we're all the idiots for still talking about it, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I think that it tells you about the thinking pattern of this moment, because whatever has gone there is telling you that in our times, the values of sorting things out in the family, it's gone. The public thrashing of your dirty laundry, if you will, is current. It's reality, right? So to me, just based on that, I go, I don't know, Meghan, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe you should have picked up the phone and sorted it all out, rather than sitting over there and bring up lines. For example, that, a member of the royal family asked me what would be the color of the skin of my baby. Seriously?
I won't say who it is.
Just say who it is. If you got the guts to sit down and say this, why don't you just say that? So to me, I always have a look at what's behind some of our languaging. And the languaging of someone like this, it sends me a message. You would rather spread shit than fix stuff, right?
Yeah.
So how nice would it have been if she had said, so-and-so said this, and so-and-so made me feel like this. Don't tell me stuff. And then
Oprah had to come out afterwards and go, they told me off air that it wasn't the Prince Philip and it wasn't the Queen, because the blow-up was, how could you do that while Prince Philip's in bed, potentially dying? A true story about her. Crystal and I always try and find a TV series that we can sit there and spend a bit of time together watching, and one of them was Suits back in the day, and she was on it. That's where she
Great show.
Got a break. Yeah, great. I had to stop watching it because every episode she cried. Every fucking episode she was crying about something different. And I had to stop watching a show that I love because it's like someone didn't clean the coffee machine. Oh my God! Somebody. Mate,
But hey, hold on. What's different? She's crying in this episode.
now something I just thought of.
Yeah.
Twitter bans Donald Trump
Yes.
and anything related to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Piers Morgan made his statement on Twitter.
Yeah. But it's not a lie.
social-
It's not a lie. It's his opinion.
It's not a lie, but it's anti the population. Like Trump got banned, he wasn't allowed to say anything.
Yeah, but
Everything he said got fact checked.
that's right. But when you sit there and you go, listen, everything she says is a lie. I know. That is my opinion.
I reckon you could go.
When
through.
you say, I want all of you to go right now to Congress, we're gonna take back our house. It's not an opinion.
I reckon the worst two words to use when we're trying to talk about factual stuff, but I reckon you could go through a list of people that Twitter and YouTube have banned lately, and they've done a lot less than what Piers Morgan did in air quotes, because he didn't do anything. He had an opinion.
I don't think they should be banned. I
I
think
think
that we
people-
need to let them there and let them be sued.
I think
So
people
let me
have
ask
banned.
this.
I think people have been banned off Twitter or
So-
whatever. Have actually challenged Twitter and whoever about delivering fake news. So I think they've got a alarm up.
So
for
let
that
me
to start
ask you
with.
this, right? On the broader subject of free speech, so we agree that Piers should have been able to say what he said,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
I think
Now,
yeah,
what if he signed a work contract that says you won't make any inflammatory comments or something like that? Does he still have the right to say it?
obviously not.
I don't. Is it obvious? Because I got a follow up question.
For me, no. If you sign a contract, well, then you'll probably be ejected. However, in the end, it's contract doesn't mean conscience.
Okay, so Israel Folau got banned from the NRL for tweeting about his religious beliefs on homosexuals.
Yep.
I think he's a knob for doing it. I don't agree with a single word he said, but he got kicked out of the competition for those tweets the first time. Now, what happened after that is completely of his own making, because he then, he didn't get kicked out of rugby league, rugby union. But then he came back, they said, look, if you agree to not make any more social media posts about homosexuals, we'll let you back in. And then he broke that and tweeted again about they're all going to burn in hell and things are going to happen. So second time round, it's on you, bro. But he settled with them out of court for $4 million because that's how much his contract was. They didn't even challenge it in court. Before he said he wouldn't do it again, should he have been allowed to go on Twitter as a role model? Again, I'm using air quotes because he's a sports person and he's an Australian rugby union player, and go on Twitter and make homophobic remarks. We're talking about freedom of speech. Same question about Piers Morgan. Should he have been able to do what he did?
No, if you have signed a contract, you can't.
No, the first time around.
Okay. However, as I said to you, contract is not conscience.
First time around, he hadn't signed a contract saying I won't tweet about
Yeah.
homosexuals.
Okay.
He just did it, and they kicked him out.
Well, they were wrong because he expressed what he had to say. But this is a problem. They were not wrong for him. They were wrong because they were scared of the database and all the people they had in their clubs, right? The membership. So in the end, there was more business versus his opinions.
100%. So where do we stand on that?
Mate, we don't stand anywhere, Cameron.
Not
You're asking questions that can't be solved.
Oh, it's
You're
fun,
asking.
though.
Listen, you ask.
It's a conundrum. It
Do you know,
truly is, absolutely.
A guy kills someone and chop a person's head because that guy abused his daughter. Okay? Well, he's wrong. And then someone does it to our own daughter. What do? Sit there, we say, well, we want to go to jail for this, or come on, what do we do?
Absolutely.
You know, you can't really explain some of that
I just want to have a
stuff.
conversation about freedom of speech, that's all.
Contractually, he can't do it. The first time he can do it because he wasn't restricted. Second time he can't do it because he's contractually bound.
I know about the second one. That's why I said forget about the second one. I think I go, if I'm the owner of the Australian Rugby Union, I go, that's not the culture we want. Regardless of your beliefs, we don't attack anybody. And that's, I'm a business owner, the culture in my team, if anyone was to be attacked, that's not the culture I want in the team. So do I have the right then to do something about that? Because it's my business and they've only enforced their right for freedom of speech. But
Again, on that thought pattern, then we all agree that airing your dirty laundry in public is not right. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech for Harry and Meghan as well.
they're two completely separate issues. I don't think
They
you should
are
ever throw your
separate.
family under a bus.
Separate issues,
They've
however,
thrown their family under a bus.
freedom of speech is freedom of
Piers
speech.
Piers is, again, in air quotes, been vilified. He's done it for ratings, but vilified for having freedom of speech. So all these topics, it's all in the same thing.
Yeah.
And I was using, Israel Folau because it's one that's closer to home.
Yeah.
And the same sort of thing. Massive organisation on televised, and he's one of its members.
No, I think that with Israel, I'm going to have to say, you may have opinion, but there are opinion that can harm a lot of other people. And I think that's where I disagree with what he's done. Okay? He just should shut up.
So that's the exact argument of the people who are against what he did. And then the freedom of speech people are going regardless what he did.
The problem with freedom of speech is that, when you'd go for freedom of speech just for the sake of free and not using your common sense, maybe you shouldn't have that. Maybe you should be barred from freedom of speech. I think freedom of speech still should come with some sense of responsibility. Was he doing that to better the community? Was he doing that to better the world around him? If not, mate, just keep it to yourself.
So the problem with that argument is, again, which has come out from the other side, is then where's the line? Because as we said before, everyone's offended by everything these days.
Yeah.
So I might say it's a sunny day outside, what beautiful weather, and someone goes, I can't believe he said that. It's raining in my world and I'm cold, and how dare you say that? I know, as a metaphor. So you actually can't. That's not something you can legislate. Oh, is it for the betterment of people or not? Is it going to make people feel better or not?
Yeah.
Listen, mate, I can say to you, for example...
The pub test in common sense.
I can say to you, for example, that, people over 40s don't run as fast as people in their 20s. So I can say that.
I can prove that
right
now if you like.
I can say that. Well, yeah, I know that. But to go out there and make a statement that can have an entire group of individuals, right, having their sense of security or their safety being threatened, that's so wrong.
I agree with you.
That is so wrong, man.
I 100%
they should not even have taken him back.
I 100% agree with you, but it's impossible to legislate. You
And
call it the pub test, right? We call it the pub test. We go, would that have passed the pub test? And the pub test is pretty much what we're doing now. Average people from mix of backgrounds having a conversation over a beer going, they talk about it in politics all the time, what Scott Morrison did there wouldn't pass the pub test. Does his trip to Hawaii during the fires pass the pub test, right? It's a pub test question. The pub test says that there's no way he should have said anything he said, but publicly in the forum that he did, but it's impossible to legislate because no matter, we're in a world at the moment where you literally can't say the sky is blue without someone getting upset.
Yeah.
And then lawsuits, and we know as employers, mate, the amount of things, how careful we have to be now as employers, what we can and what we can't do, say, intimate, look sideways at someone, raise your eyebrow. We're in that world as employers.
We've come into a nanny state. We've come into a nanny state where you've got to watch every way you talk and look and so forth. So it's become... And
then you throw in a bunch of entitled kids who think it's okay to just completely destroy their parents.
Look, I'm just
glad everything.
I'm just glad we've got politicians that can't walk down steps without tripping on a vaccine virus and falling down some steps, breaking some ribs and cracking a vertebrae.
How many people talk a pub test? You want a pub
Even
test?
Even concrete's on us.
Right, man.
You want
gravity?
Gravity.
That'll undo the politicians.
You want the perfect example of pub test?
Tell me.
How many people didn't smile when they heard that Dan Andrews had fallen down some steps? That's the
No
pub
one.
test. That's it. You've just passed. That just passed the pub test.
Everyone had a cake
everyone
and chuckle. Everyone had a chuckle.
Everyone can vilify me and say you're cancelled for not liking Dan Andrews, but he just passed the pub test.
Apparently
everyone is pissing themselves, Dan, because you're a joke.
Apparently, it was he tripped on a vial of vaccine, and it was a Chinese-made steps, and so. Mate, good luck.
They used the Belton Road to get him to the hospital. Right, there was no traffic on the way. This Bucky paid a lot of money for there to be no traffic. Wouldn't he be spewing if he's gone, where's my money going? Now you know how your taxpayers feel, you grub. You're a joke.
Now, we laugh.
All right, boys. You're just being Piers Morgan, all right? I
Sorry,
can't,
Pauline.
I can't vouch for this. I can't vouch for this, right?
I'm never opening an office in Melbourne, so it's okay.
Listen, politicians only care about two things.
Themselves and themselves.
I was going to say themselves and their seats. But so whatever they make in terms of promise before they elected, it's for you. Whatever they talk about after they elected, it's for them. We need to understand it, and then we're fine.
What about the irony if he has
When they fall downstairs, it's for our amusement.
What about the irony if he has to go stay in one of them hospitals that he stuffed up the quarantining on, or the
Catches COVID.
He's got
No, come on. Let's stop. Boys, we're being nasty. But on the subject of vaccination, what's going on? Here is the question I want to ask.
Gone very quiet, way too
Italy
quiet.
has cancelled our delivery. France is also about to stop the delivery of our vaccine. So the world seems to show some solidarity right at the beginning of 2020. The world right now is starting to show sense of nationalist. And the next bit is this: stuff the poor countries. Where are we going?
You know where we're going? Them doing that on a macro level is us fighting for toilet paper in Coles. They're hoarding the toilet paper, mate. There's no need to hoard the toilet paper. What COVID has shown us is that everyone's in it for themselves. Deep down, kumbaya, all the shit we talk and this book we read, everyone's hoarding the toilet paper still.
And not condoning what Italy has done by any stretch of the imagination. Their excuse was they don't believe Australia was in a high-risk area. They don't need the vaccine like others do.
Only Victoria.
It's actually a good point, Thomas, and Cam, that countries are turning inward now, aren't they?
Something that could be developed and produced inside of 18 months, all of a sudden there's not enough to go around. Much like there's a massive Kleenex factory down the road that has 4 million toilet rolls that are guaranteed to be shipped out next week. They're in the aisles of Coles fighting over the 4 fucking rolls that are on the shelf. All
right, guys, as a last subject for the day, I just want to talk about property prices. What's going on?
Jesus.
What's going on with real estate?
At the risk
like toilet paper. Not enough on the shelf.
At the risk of upsetting Meghan Markle, it's mental. It's crazy what's going on out there. It is.
Don't know if my child's going to have brown skin or white skin.
I
don't know.
How dare you ask?
Don't know.
So what's going on? Is this going to keep on going up? And
I don't think it can. I was talking
can't.
about this something the other day, and everyone goes, "Oh, it can't keep going. It can't keep going," and you always take that as a throwaway line. But I actually had to think about why can't it keep going. And the thing I came to is, when was the last time anyone we know had a pay rise? Wages aren't going.
No.
Wages aren't going up. No one's getting more money in their pocket. There's got to be a limit, hasn't there? Because at some point, some people aren't going to be able to afford to borrow any more money.
And there's a misconception people are earning more money through JobKeeper and JobSeeker. However,
they're not buying
those
houses,
people,
bro.
Those people aren't buying houses. That's exactly right.
That's the same reason the market didn't crash during COVID. Every idiot that said the market's going to crash, the people who were getting JobKeeper and JobSeeker weren't buying houses.
I'm having record numbers through open homes. In 2 days, I had 40 groups through a home.
So what are you guys saying to me? That there's a lot of money under the mattress?
I think there's a lot of money out there. I think it's coming. At the moment, we're in a perfect storm where interest rates are record time low, where I'm looking at refinancing, and stock levels that are available because they're moving so quickly are low. And almost all the suburbs around our area are 15 to 20, 30% lower levels than they were this time last year.
That pushes prices up generally. But what we've seen, and I was having a guess, Pricefinder's only just updated its figures because of settled sales. I was guessing that Hoang has gone up 20% since January. It's gone up 19.8 according to Pricefinder. Right? That is a ridiculous amount of money, regardless of low interest rates. And
3 months.
What I think is happening in my areas, and we cover from Hornsby to Point Clare, right? Hornsby to Brooklyn was getting...
very soon all the way to Newcastle.
All the way to Cairns, Noosa. Not going to Melbourne. Imagine owning a business with that prick running.
Melbourne's ready for a boom, mate. I'm telling you, Melbourne is ready. But anyway.
No, but anyway. So what I was analytical thinking, our buyers from Berowra to Brooklyn, Hornsby to Brooklyn, come from the Hills District, Northern Beaches. Okay, so they were getting that money, which is good money, and that's why the average price around that area in Berowra, for example, was $1 million. Okay, Central Coast was getting Berowra to Hornsby money. All the upper North Shore was moving to the Central Coast. What's happened now since COVID everyone's getting city money. Everyone is moving out of Sydney. Everyone is out of their units, and city money is different to Upper North Shore and Hills District money. And they're coming and they're paying cash, and banks don't have to value them, and it is just a whole
That's going to drive
another
prices.
level. Like, I can't price a house at the moment. I can't. I told someone I've been out by over $100,000 multiple times this year, and I'm always one who shoots for the highest price first and comes back later if we have to. And
Yeah, but we need to remember, mate, we're real estate agents. We're not valuers, all right? So, and in real estate, it's always about the case of the biggest lies that gets the job. So you just have to tell them 300,000, you get it. My only thing is, where is the market going? We need to go back there. Where is it going? Can we really withstand this kind of price rise?
I don't think it will sustain. I don't think it
can increase at the same rate it's increasing. Going to Disneyland with my house, if in the next 2 months carry-on goes up another 20%, that's 40% since Christmas. But again, if we had that crystal ball, we'd all be driving more expensive cars.
But you know what, Cam?
You are already, so you must have a crystal ball.
But Cam, your house goes up 20%, and you go, let's sell. I've got to upsize. I've got to find something. Mate, that's gone up 20%. So everything moves at the same rate.
It's a ripple.
Right?
It goes away.
Exactly,
it goes from the center point, it goes away.
If you're going to upsize, it moves it further away from your reach. I don't think we can stay in this. I think there's going to be an end. I've heard whispers, and they're only whispers, that the banks will increase their interest rates shortly. So
They have to.
Yeah. So myself, I'm looking at refinancing to lock in my loans because I'm paying more than I need to when loans are at 1.8, 1.9%.
I don't know whether you should lock it in, because I think it'll go up.
We're not financial
maybe
advisors.
too slowly.
We're not financial advisors.
I don't know. Piers Morgan thinks he is. But I don't think, for me, it's my opinion is that they're going to go up because they have to tame it down.
Yes.
But I don't think you need to fix it, bro, because I believe
Even
it's going to remain very low. Because...
do you think it's going to go lower than we are at the moment?
No, it's not. But you can't fix it at this rate that we have for the next 5 years.
If you're fixing your...
You can fix it too. For 2 or 3 years, you can fix it 1.9.
Well, if you can do that.
For this rate here now?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then we should all do this.
You can't?
But the issue is... No, I'm not saying I can't. I haven't looked at it, mate.
What are you calling me?
I'm one of those. I'm one of those interest-only fellas, mate.
You know, the other thing, guys, is the other thing, and I know about you blokes, is self-managed super funds. Their interest rates have dropped big time. When I set mine up 3 years ago, in 2017, I was paying 6.5% because it's a commercial loan. They're at 4.8, 4.7% now. So money is cheap as it has ever been.
Here's the question, right? So I had an appointment yesterday with a fella, and he doesn't have to move, but he's going to in the medium to short term, and he sat there with me. He said, mate, I just hate to be at Christmas having sold and the market's gone up another 15%. And in his position, he's not upsizing or anything. He's in a position where...
So he can sell and hold.
He's all right, right? And I said, mate, you know what? One, I'd love a beer, and two, I'd hate to be having with you at Christmas if it's turned off.
Get away.
And we could have gone
the other way.
Because he's going to get ridiculous money now. And I said, look, my job's not to tell you to sell, bro. But you brought up the having a beer at Christmas, and there's 2 beers we could have. And well, you know what? Yeah, another 10 or 15% on your property would be great, but it's not going to change your life dramatically. If the market switches off overnight, you're going to have,
But you've gone up 19.8% since...
You've made 20% since January.
Yeah.
Right? I've made a sale on the weekend. When it goes through, my house has just gone up $150,000 in value.
So you're going to refinance by investment?
No, when I tell my wife, she said, when are we selling? Right? I sell, I could have a lot of cash in the bank, but then I'm forced. Well, then I'm with the option that I have to pay $1.2 million to stay in a suburb that I paid $450,000 to enter.
Or you could use that equity by an investment property.
There's all sorts of stuff.
I think that people forget that the consumer feeling can change overnight. And the moment the consumer feeling starts to go down, you will see the crashes.
On that, the minute the banks start to increase their interest rates,
No, it doesn't have to. And here's what.
Okay.
2 things to your point. 1st of March 2018, market was flying. There's 4 houses on the market in Carrion. 2nd of March 2018, Banking Royal Commission has announced nothing else sold in March. The average days on market went from 7 days to 72. Market dropped about 10% between that day and the election 2019. Right? Election 2019, prices start to pick up. Overnight, whole of Australia's on fire. Everything flattened out. Fires get put out. Market starts to pick up. First week of March 2020, sold 5 houses in Barrow. Second week of March, Premier comes out and says, you're all shut down, you can't do open homes. Thought I was going to lose 2 businesses. Market dropped about 5% overnight. That's the first point. The second point is the media. 3 weeks ago, the Reserve Bank comes out and says, we won't touch interest rates until 2024. A week later, Daily Telegraph comes out and says banks are going to have to move independently because borrowing costs, bonds are going up overseas, borrowing costs are getting too expensive for the banks, they're going to have to move independently. Last week, Sun Herald picks up the same story, so now the Telegraph and the Sun are running the same story. Now you've jumped on the podcast and say the same thing. It doesn't wait for it to happen. The amount of people who heard the bank say in 2018 the market's going to drop 50%, so they stopped buying even though there was no evidence for it, and the amount of people when coronavirus hit stopped their buying journey and said we're going to wait for the market to crash and have now cost themselves $500,000 because that's how much the market's charmed. So no, it's not going to take the banks to put the interest rates up. It's going to take those
the
fucking
media.
moron papers and people to start making more noise about it.
Which they've started.
Yeah.
Which 4 weeks ago when I was talking to people, I'm saying, look, I can't look you in the eye and tell you there's any reason that I can see the market dropping or even not continuing to rise for the time being. But I'm telling the story about March and the bushfires. Now I've got to say, look, I can't look you in the eye and tell you that I think prices are going to drop or stop, but here's what's happened. The media are going to control what buyers are doing.
That's why they need us. That's why the customers and the clients are in the neighborhood.
The problem is I know all this, but I'm not likable at all. So.
Who have Chris Dinola and Cameron Wilson to look after are going to be fine. And hence, the real estate agents who are listening to these kind of podcasts and go, do you know what? These guys, they may be pissed, but you know what? There is a line that says, in vino veritas. Thanks to the wine, the truth is emerging. And that is the thing, guys. This is what we talk the way we talk. Even though we've got too many drinks into our system, we still know enough and studied enough to be able to share our opinions. This is only our opinion, okay? But in the end, look, boys, from the day that they started with the COVID, how many of our opinions were right? How many of our opinions have come out now? And this is why we need to continue this. We need to continue the fight, and we need to continue fighting fake news. All right? On this, boys, thanks very much for
Peace
out.
today.
See you,
Talk
boys.
soon. Bye.
Bye.